One on this, we'll call it a panel, right? Everyone on this panel right here today speaks a second language, right? And so
Hmm.
when I say that, um, you know, truck drivers need to be, anyone working in America needs to legally be here to work in America. And I always say that people that drive a truck that can be 80,000 pounds should be able to uh, speak enough English and read enough English for the safety of others, right? With
Yep.
everyone here
Yep.
that speaks English and another language here, what are your thoughts about that?
The main problem is in this trucking, not Punjabi, not Russian, not Mexican, not Somalian or African. The main problem is communication in this trucking lane. You can't communicate, they're not gonna pay you. Especially with the middle name Singh, you go to a lot of warehouses, they won't even let you in. You need
Really?
to earn your own respect. Earn your
Wow.
respect. Quit lowballing other people's. Everybody got to make a living. It's just not you. You know. The people that sending their businesses overseas for dispatch and overnight services. They have no clue. I have waited to get a com data to pay for a lump for over 3 hours because the person could not
There you go.
understand how to give me a com data.
Wow.
Come in.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Last week, I went to go pick up a load here in Plainfield. It was a young Russian man. I feel sorry for him because I got loaded. I checked in after him while his paperwork sitting at the window. Got loaded, got my paperwork, and I was out of the office before he could even sign the paper because he could not understand where to put the trailer number, verify the seal and initial, print
Wow.
and sign his name on all the documents. He could not understand. He had to send that message to someone who understand that, and then he
Wow.
was waiting at least about 45 minutes outside the building, so just that guy could tell him, "Hey, this is what you got to do in Russian language." So I wanna pinpoint all those. I'm not against anybody. If you get into a trucking, we're gonna be on the road. Basically, it's a dangerous line to be on the road. You got to be able to communicate. This is how I
And
look at it. Coming from a foreign country, this is how I look at it. If I'm gonna come to your house, I need to respect your house. If I can't communicate with you in your house, I don't need to be in your house. Earning, working is everybody's right. But also at the same time, when you're gonna go somewhere, you should be able to speak and communicate with the person, make them understand what you're here for. Anybody can pick up a load and go take it somewhere, but something happened to your load. How are you gonna explain to them? Like that, the last week load I was telling Billy about too. 45 minutes. I don't know how long he was sitting there after I left, but 45 minutes. This guy was sitting out there just because he didn't know where to sign and what to sign and how to understand what the lady was telling him.
let me comment on language barriers because I am Hispanic. I'm born here in America, but I am Hispanic, and I see a lot of it every day, and I see it in Jay. I see it in your community because we have a lot of drivers in the ports who are from your area of the country of the world, and
Yeah, Punjab. A lot of Punjabi people.
yeah, but yeah, Punjabi. I'm sorry. I see
Yes, go.
that. I see Somalian, Chinese, Puerto Rican, Dominican, and Russian and other languages. And I say this: federal law when they created the CDL, one license for one country or one license. There's a federal law, and I experienced that federal law back in the early 90s, I think it was, when two of my drivers were headed out to Vancouver, British Columbia to deliver a load, and Utah made me pick up those drivers and send them home by plane because they didn't speak English. And I'm going to tell you why. Can you imagine an officer, right, on the road has a fire with a whole family inside that truck? Or I'm sorry, a fire inside of a car, and he stops a trucker to ask for his fire extinguisher, and because that guy doesn't know how to speak English, can't give that officer the fire extinguisher, the
Yeah.
people burn. And so it is federal law that you need to be able to communicate with shippers, with anyone in the industry. You also need to be able to communicate clearly with law enforcement. I am not against immigration. My wife immigrated here, right? We did it the right way. However, I believe that the industry has allowed for some un illegal practices to go on. I know Florida sells their licenses also. You know, I
Yep.
know someone who has a scheme going on right now in the dump truck business who puts ads in the Miami newspaper for the Cuban community and brings them up here with a license, and they don't speak a lick of English. So we're
Yep.
saying is you need to be able to communicate. You need to be able to know if you have hazmat on your license, right, or other endorsements. Like there's certain rules and regulations, and if you don't speak the language and don't know where to sign the paperwork, you should not be sitting behind the wheel of a tractor trailer.
I
Yeah.
want to just make a quick comment. All right. Migration of all God's creatures has been going on since the earth was formed. I got no problems with people coming from any country. I agree completely, though. Communication is critical. A lot of the workers coming here and in the trucking industry and other industries, they don't they don't bother to try to find their rights. You need to have your rights known to you. You need to be able to communicate with somebody else, like, say, Mark, you need to be able to communicate with Jay. Jay, you need to be able to communicate with me. I need to be able to communicate with Jose. We need to communicate because what's happening is Mark's being played against me. I'm being played against Jay. Jay's being played against Jose. They're playing us like a fine musical instrument to lower all of our working conditions. Right now, just as an example, in the West Texas oil fields, drivers are getting one load a week. Why? Because the companies are bringing in B1 drivers. The B1 drivers don't know what's going on. No one bothered to teach them. All they know is they got a chance to make a few dollars.
What's a
But
B1 driver? I don't know what a B1
B1
driver.
driver is a driver
visa?
who's here on a visa.
On a work visa, okay.
Right.
ahead.
And these B1 drivers are being used against American drivers of all races and nationalities. And yet, we're all in this together. That's why we believe we just got to organize. The rainbow is multiple colors. Now,
Yeah.
we know we got to teach some of our newer brothers and sisters coming in, we got to teach them what their rights are. We're not here to deprive anybody of work. Hell, every one of us is an immigrant unless you're native, you're an indigenous person, unless you're a Lakota or one of them. We're all immigrants, all right? We all came across the boat, back in the days. I don't want this to come off sounding like we're anti-immigrant because we're not. We're all immigrants. We're all in this together, and we're being played by a very small group of people. Very small. The people that control BlackRock, there's 18 of them. 18 people control investment assets of $11 trillion. That's more than most countries have. If you saw those people walking down the street, you just look at them and say, oh, those are professional people, business people. They look like me and you. And yet, Mark, Jay, Jose, and me, and Alex too, they're ripping off us each day. Every minute of the day.